Hey everybody, this is Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner,
And I am wearing another hat.
and you're watching The Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast, episode 83. What are we doing today, Victoria?
In this episode, we are going to
Nope.
review. No, we're doing a beginner's guide to Odyssey, which we haven't done in a while,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we're doing one.
Yep.
We're doing the beginner's guide to Adventures in Odyssey series.
Yes, not sagas, but series. We already did sagas. So we're talking about different series overall within of audio, the video series, all the different series of books that have come
Video
out, the
games!
video
Everyone's
games.
favorite video games.
Yeah, so all of
Forget
those.
Kingdom Hearts, this is where it's at.
So beyond the audio series, we're talking about all of the other different things that are also part of all the other things containing additional fictional content that are part of, Adventures and Odysseys media empire.
Yep.
But before that, we have some news items because it's been over 2 weeks since our last episode. First thing, we now know, also because it is May for one thing, that The Good Soil is the OAC episode for May, and Things Not Seen is going to be the OAC episode for June. What else, Victoria?
So, there. Okay, I got it. It's hard to imagine an
You can
Odyssey.
say what you're talking about first.
So there's going to be another OAC audio album for music and stuff.
A soundtrack is what they're usually called.
Well, by other people, not by me. It's hard to imagine an Odyssey episode without the music of composer John Campbell. But suppose you wanted to enjoy the music all by itself.
Now you guys know what you have to look forward to in the rest of this episode for Victoria reading scripted information.
Thank you, Devin. Visit the Club Audio Library for background music from our second season. Wink. Hear the sweeping orchestral gusts of Wooten's Alaskan Adventure. Enjoy playful pieces from Pinocchio. Devin wouldn't enjoy those. These and other musical memories arrive May 12th.
Yes. So the next season's, the 2015 second season of the OAC, that soundtrack is coming out in only 4 days as of this recording, Thursday of this week, May 12th. The third and biggest piece of news, which is causing a minor kerfuffle of confusion within the AIO community right now, is an Odyssey Scoop article, which is down in the description, saying that the 30th anniversary live show next year may be happening on a Disney cruise, which honestly sounds like a clickbait title every time I share this article or talk about it. So there was an announcement that for Focus's anniversary next year, their anniversary celebration for Focus on the Family, it's going to happen on a Disney cruise.
Which takes all of Devin and my chances for finally seeing a live show and just whoop, throws them out the window.
Yeah, Focus's 40th anniversary celebration is happening on a Disney cruise to the Bahamas and other locations, and among other speakers and things that it features, they're going to have the AIO 30th anniversary live show there, which is unfortunate. It's happening in November, the week prior to the birthday, so November 13th to 17th, 2017, which means it's a Monday to Friday work week in the middle of November. Very odd time to take a cruise. Also not a convenient time for people who work or who are in school. So
I love how you're not happy for Focus at all, and you're like, it's very inconvenient and awful.
It is, because it's inconvenient for the fans. It's okay for, rich business people, but it's not going to work for,
people who can afford Disney cruises.
Exactly. It's a very odd decision. The one possibility about the way that it's presented, and I think this possibly, and a couple other people I've discussed it with, think that because this event is focusing on Focus's 40th anniversary, and they're listing things that'll happen on the cruise, the speakers they'll have, and one of the things is the birthday live show. it's possible that this is not the only performance of the live show. They're bringing the live show on the cruise to perform it for the people who are there, but there will also be a separate event at a regular venue on dry land, which is the actual Adventures in Odyssey centric event, which will be the main performance of the live show. I feel like
that would definitely be preferable.
I feel like there's a fair possibility that that's what's going on here, so let's hold out for that. But the article is down below, and you can find the information on it, and it links to the original source, which is on the Focus on the Family website.
Hey, Dev, no, be pretty sweet if they performed at UBC in Vancouver.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. But then it'd be while you're working, so I'd get to see it and you wouldn't.
That's true. I could take the night off, probably, but, whatever.
I wouldn't go without you, though.
All right, let's get into this BGTO now. So, like I said before, this beginner's guide, for those who aren't aware, the beginner's guide is like an audio based with pictures.
For you noobs out there who don't know nothing about what you're doing.
For people who are new to the show, or people who have forgotten or just don't know about certain parts of the show, this is basically like a quick guide to give you little short mini articles about a series of topics to get you up to speed on things. Excuse me. And we've done them for characters of the show and the show in general, places in the show, sagas in the show, inventions on the show, I believe, are all the ones we've done up to this point. So this one is about the different series. So we're talking about only series of AIO media, hey Gidget, that contain additional fictional content. So we're not counting the AIO Bibles or the nonfiction devotional books or the calendars or things like that. Not the trivia game or the board games, any of that stuff. No clothes. But we are talking about then Family Portraits, the regular audio series, the Truth Chronicles, Eugene Sings albums, the video series, The Last Chance Detectives, the original novels for the books, the official guidebooks, Passages books, Kidsboro, the Imagination Station books, Candid Conversations with Connie, the Mysteries and Odyssey books, the video games, and Clubhouse Magazine. So 15 topics to cover.
Hey, you know what? When you said clothes, it reminded me of those horrific mascot outfits of
We should have done an article on that.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about today, and we'll get into that right now. Series. This episode is accurate up to episode 790, Walk This Way. Family Portraits. In 1987, Focus on the Family decided to follow up on the success of the 3 short family radio drama episodes they had produced over the previous 3 years by creating a 13-episode miniseries. This series, Family Portraits, aired during Dr. Dobson's regular radio slot on Mondays, presenting 12 stories about the town of Odyssey and primarily about one John Avery Whitaker, proprietor of Wits End. The show was met with incredible reception and laid a strong foundation for the Adventures in Odyssey audio series and everything that would come after. While 7 of the original Family Portraits episodes were reused as Adventures in Odyssey episodes, Dental Dilemma, No Stupid Questions, You're Not Gonna Believe This, My Brother's Keeper, A Member of the Family Parts 1 and 2, and A Simple Edition, several parts of the Family Portraits canon were changed going into AIO, including re-recording some parts of the episodes that made that transition. In Family Portraits, it stated that Wits End is a combination bookstore and ice cream coffee shop. It started by both Whit and Jenny together, with emphasis on Jenny's famous apple pie. This was very quickly changed on AIO in the episode Recollections, where we learn that Wits End came about shortly after Jenny's death. All mentions of Wits End as a bookstore in Family Portraits, such as in the beginning of You're Not Gonna Believe This, were removed or changed when the episodes moved into the actual audio series. An interesting part of the canon is that in the beginning of the first Family Portraits episode, Whit's Visitor, Whit tells the listener that Odyssey was named by old Doc McAllister, who said that the town was something that everybody ought to see, and thus the town was named. This information wasn't confirmed or denied by the audio series for decades, until Album 50's A Class Reenactment finally confirmed it in a dramatization of the founding of the town. Apart from Whit, the only characters who fully carried over to AIO were Tom Riley, Jana Whitaker, and Monty Whitaker Dowd. Jenny Whittaker and Jenny Whittaker Dowd were also mentioned in Family Portraits and went on to be heard from in AIO. The series also featured several prominent AIO actors before they would go on to play their starring roles, such as Katie Lee, Will Ryan, Earl Bowen, Nathan Carlson, and more, who would later go on to play Connie Kendall, Eugene Meltzner, Regis and Edwin Blackard, Richard Maxwell, etc. This series is not currently ongoing.
The original audio series. The original and primary canon of Adventures in Odyssey, the audio series began on November 21st, 1987. It is still currently producing new episodes through both publicly released albums released twice per year in sets of 6 episodes and the Odyssey Adventure Club, releasing monthly episodes continuously. The audio series began shortly after Family Portraits ended, beginning with Wit's Flop, and is currently spread across 60 numbered albums, The Lost Episodes, Passages, Darian's Rise, The Truth Chronicles, 2.5 Odyssey Adventure Club seasons, and a number of not-for-sale episodes, which are mostly Harley episodes. The audio series is the only series considered pure definitive canon by most fans, and is considered the baseline against which other series are compared. Apart from Family Portraits, all other series are spin-offs of the audio series. Most of the other series tie into the main audio series at some point, usually by specifically designed episodes. This series is one of the only currently ongoing.
The Truth Chronicles. The Truth Chronicles is an 11-episode collection created during the audio series' second hiatus in 2008, based on The Truth Project by Dr. Del Tackett. While 3 of the episodes, Kidsboro, Parts 1 to 3, are part of the official audio series, the other 8 episodes are unnumbered and not generally considered strict canon according to the official guide. Each episode focuses on an aspect of the Truth Project's curriculum, generally relating to living out the Christian worldview in an agnostic world, with themes ranging from creation to the Trinity to social order to the role of government. Given that the series was created during the second hiatus, in the midst of a major character turnover, it's notable that The Truth Chronicles was the first appearance of many minor kid characters for album 51 and onward, such as Ryan Cummings and Nelson Swanson. The Truth Chronicles didn't contain any pre-hiatus kids, such as Mandy Strasberg, Trent DeWhite, the Washingtons, etc., nor did it include the primary kids from 51 onwards, such as the Parkers, the Joneses, Priscilla, Jay, etc. Wooten's comic character, Captain Absolutely, was also first created during The Truth Chronicles. This series is not currently ongoing.
The Eugene Sings albums. The 2 Eugene Sings albums were created in 2005 to allow Adventures in Odyssey to branch into slightly different format through one of its most popular and musical characters, Eugene Meltzner, with his ukulele. The first album contained general songs written and performed by Eugene's voice actor, Will Ryan, with several guest appearances. The second album was Christmas-themed. The albums didn't sell very well, and production was eventually discontinued, making them more difficult to find today. The audio episode, Odyssey Sings, was created to tie the albums into canon. After a number of the characters tried and failed to get on an American Idol-style singing show, they had their own concert in Wits End, capped by Eugene's performance of one of the songs on the album. The characters decided that Eugene should create an album to showcase the songs he'd written, which would become Eugene Sings. This series is not currently ongoing.
The video series. The animated series consists of 17 episode-length videos geared towards a slightly younger demographic than the audio series. While the audio series is geared towards kids 8 to 12, the videos are usually aimed at kids 6 to 8. In the early 1990s, the staff wanted to reach out into a larger group than they could catch with audio, so they decided to branch into a visual medium for AIO. However, they worried that the longer production time for video than audio meant that the escapades of the audio series would quickly outpace the events of the video series. Thusly, they decided to make the videos to be a separate canon, with different kid characters to avoid confusion of timelines and development. Major differences in the video series include the existence of children Dylan and Jesse Taylor, Wit/Dylan's dog Sherman, and the Strataflyer, an invention of Wit's consisting of a flying boat propelled by large balloons and propellers. The video series was informally introduced in the audio series through the bizarre non-canon episode Dobson Comes to Town, which posits that the crew of Wits End creates both the audio and video series about their own lives and broadcasts them from Wits End. Due to the odd inconsistencies in character portrayal and character existence between the series, the audio series parodied the video series both in A Day in the Life and made a jab at the third animated episode in I Slap Floor. A Day in the Life involved a Hollywood production studio making a horrendously inaccurate film about Odyssey, which was meant to represent the animated series, and the first episode, The Night Travelers, in particular. Specific references include all of the actual Odyssey children being consolidated into an unknown, quote, precocious, fun-loving 10-year-old, end quote, an over-the-top villain, Dr. Mephisto, a play on the actual video villain, Dr. Faustus, and the fact that all of the adults were initially non-existent except for Whit and Eugene. The episode ends with the Wits End crew conceding that while the movie wasn't representative of the real Odyssey, that maybe it didn't have to be because people were enjoying it and that was what was important. I Slap Floor made a smaller jab at the Strataflyer and a Fine Feathered Frenzy, specifically, with Wit's line, while under a behavior-altering drug, I came up with a new invention today. It's a flying machine made out of a boat with oars and big helium balloons and a propeller. We can use it to rescue people. You'll all be sorry next time someone falls off a clock tower. Which was received with disbelief and concern for Wit. The series is not currently ongoing.
The Last Chance Detective series. While it's technically a different series altogether from Adventures in Odyssey, The Last Chance Detectives does have a relationship with AIO that may place them in the same canon universe. The Last Chance Detectives is a short, focus-produced series of 3 audio dramas, 3 videos, and a book, centering on a small group of young friends led by Mike Fowler, who solve mysteries in the desert town of Ambrosia, Arizona. The series was produced in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The first audio adventure, The Day Ambrosia Stood Still, features Jason Whittaker from Adventures in Odyssey, who gets sucked into a mystery while on his way to a nearby New Mexico military base for work. At the same time on Adventures in Odyssey, Whit mentioned at the end of the episode No Way In that Jason was away on a last-minute trip to New Mexico, making reference to his appearance in the other series. This crossover leads some to believe that the 2 series coexist in the same canon, hence its inclusion here. There was also a Collect the Clues contest for the Last Chance Detectives fans, where the winner made a cameo appearance on the Adventures in Odyssey episode The Invisible Dog. This contest was won by Ben Williams. This series is not currently ongoing.
The Original Novel Series. The Original Novel Series was the first series of AIO novels to be written, released from 1992 to 1997. In the same vein as the animated series, writers were worried that the slower production rate of books would mean that they wouldn't be able to sustain consistent kid characters without conflicting with the fast-paced, ever-changing audio canon. The solution, rather than creating an alternate canon like the animated series, was to set the novels a few years prior to the beginning of the audio show. The final novels bridged the gap to the beginning of the audio show, including a recreated scene from Connie Comes to Town. This provided some interesting opportunities in terms of building canon. While the books often focused on child Mark Prescott as the protagonist, they included and featured other characters, including early kids from the audio series, such as the Barclays, Jack Davis, and Oscar Peterson. In fact, Jimmy's conversion to Christianity is shown in the novels. Also, Oscar's last name, Peterson, is only derived from these novels and is never actually mentioned in the audio series. There are several interesting additions to the audio canon provided by the books, including information about the early stages of the creation of the Imagination Station, and much more information about the old war bunker near Camp Whatanut, also mentioned in Connie Goes to Camp. This series contains 12 novels and is not currently ongoing.
The Official Guidebooks. There are 3 guidebooks to Adventures in Odyssey. The first, The Complete Guide, was written by Phil Lawler in 1997, covering up to the first hiatus with albums 1 to 28. It included behind-the-scenes information and statistics about episodes, as well as information about the characters not otherwise stated in the show. The canon status of that information isn't entirely clear. Many years later, the official guide was written by Nathan Hubler, released for Adventures in Odyssey's 20th anniversary, covering albums 1 to 50, as well as other episodes and series such as the Lost episodes and the video series. This guide focused more on statistics, lists, and behind-the-scenes information about the episodes and series. A few years later, for the 25th anniversary of Adventures in Odyssey, an updated version of this guide was published under the same title, extending the range to albums 1 to 56. and the other books and video series. This series is likely ongoing.
The Passages series. The Passages series consists of 6 fantasy novels by Paul McCusker, released from 2005 to 2006, often compared to the Chronicles of Narnia. These books all center on written accounts of Odyssey children from different time periods being transported to the country of Maris in an alternate dimension and experiencing adventures analogous to famous Bible stories. These stories are all wrapped around by Whit and Jack as they track down the different accounts from around town, trying to investigate the veracity of the tales. The name Passages is a play on both passages between worlds and passages of scripture upon which the stories are based. The series was first tied into the audio series through a 2-parter in album 34, originally entitled Passages, which would later be retitled Passages: Fletcher's Rebellion. These episodes involved neither Jack nor Whit, but featured Tom Riley learning that his late son Timmy and friend Alice traveled to Maris from Camp Whatnot. There, the 2 children experienced an analog of Gideon's fight against the Midianites. Timmy's journal and camp experiences mentioned in this episode would later come into play in Malachi's message and the formation of the Timothy Center. Much later on, during the second hiatus in 2009, the first Passages novel, Darian's Rise, was directly adapted into a 9-part audio episode called Passages: Darian's Rise. This is what prompted the renaming of the original Passages 2-parter to take on a more specific name. It's currently unknown if any more of the Passages novels will ever be adapted for audio, but it's unlikely to happen outside of another lengthy audio series hiatus. However, given the adaptation of Darian's Rise and Timmy's adventure in Maris, it's likely that the entire series can be taken as canon. The novels themselves are not currently ongoing.
The Kidsboro book series. The Kidsboro series is comprised of 5 novels written by Marshall Younger. They focus on Ryan Cummings and his friends as they run the small kids-only town of Kidsboro in the woods of McAllister Park. Whit built a number of small shacks and small clubhouses one summer to become a small town exclusively for the kids of Odyssey, to give them somewhere to play while learning about government and infrastructure. Ryan was elected mayor and his friends took over the other governmental roles. The books express themes relating to their experiences in trying to keep the town afloat. The first book was written in 2000, then the subsequent 4 were all released in 2008. The series was tied into the audio series through a 3-parter embedded in the Truth Chronicles that is also a part of the regular audio series entitled Kidsboro. The episodes explain the creation of the town and recreated Nixon's Watergate scandal to teach government honesty and integrity. From the Truth Chronicles onwards, several of the book characters became a part of the regular audio series, including Ryan Cummings and Nelson Swanson. This series is not currently ongoing.
The Imagination Station books. The Imagination Station series is one of the more recent book series to come from the show. Most similar to the Magic Treehouse books by Mary Pope Osborne, these books center on cousins Patrick and Beth as they travel through history in the Imagination Station to retrieve artifacts at the behest of Whit and the mysterious notes that keep appearing for him in the Imagination Station. The most notable differing from audio canon in this series is that the Imagination Station seems to be relatively indistinguishable from actual time travel, rather than an immersive virtual reality experience. This is most prominently seen in the fact that real items taken into an adventure can be left behind there, and items found in the adventure continue to exist after the adventure ends, even though they can't leave the physical walls of the station itself. The overarching story is organized into arcs of 3 stories each. This series is currently ongoing with 17 original books to date.
The Candid Conversations with Connie book series. Another recent series, these devotional guides for tween girls are told through Connie's interactions with the young girls of Odyssey. Connie, while talking with the young female characters of the show, will broach a variety of topics in conversation, and these serve as the devotional topics. After the first book, the subsequent volumes have taken more thematic approaches overall. There isn't a lot of original narrative that could serve as an addition to canon, but given the fictional vehicle of the series, it's still included on the list, while the other devotional books related to AIO were not. This series is currently ongoing, with 3 original books to date.
The Mysteries in Odyssey series. An extremely short-lived series, the Mysteries in Odyssey books came out in 2002, with only 2 of the 3 planned books actually releasing. The books seem to take an odd stance on canon, given that they include both regular audio series characters as well as Dylan Taylor from the video series. They also seem to be spread across the canon timeline, as the first 2 books feature Cal Jordan, Sarah Pratchett, and Jared DeWitt, while the unreleased 3rd book would have featured Lucy Cunningham Schultz and Dylan Taylor together. The series is not ongoing, with 2 released books and a 3rd unreleased.
The video game series. There are 4 fictional Adventures in Odyssey video games from a number of years back. The latter 3 were all produced in a similar format independent from the first. The games are all loosely considered edutainment puzzle games, wrapped around a story involving Adventures in Odyssey characters. The games weren't terribly well received, but most can still easily be found today. The first game involves assorted mini-games around Wit's End, without an overarching story. 2 of the latter games involve Whit, Connie, and Eugene on treasure hunts, while the 3rd is an adaptation of the audio episode Bloopers. This series is not currently ongoing.
Clubhouse Magazine. Clubhouse Magazine is Focus's monthly publication for kids. While the magazine isn't exclusively or even primarily focused on Adventures in Odyssey, it frequently includes content related to AIO, including many original short stories. While the stories, like many of the non-audio series listed here, aren't considered canon, they do contain original fictional material that can sometimes add interesting material to audio canon. While most of the stories are totally original events dealing with the show's characters, some stories add significantly to audio canon, such as a story from March 1999, which involves Nick Mulligan becoming a Christian. This series is currently ongoing. And we're back. Now, hopefully you guys all enjoyed that, and hopefully you learned something. I feel like most people should learn something from this one, probably more so than any of the other ones, because lots of people only really listen to the audio-based stuff, and you get some people who watch the videos and read a couple of the books, but between all these different series, chances are most people have not gone through all of these things, especially like the Mysteries and Odyssey books and stuff like that.
And the devotion guides.
Exactly. So, I had to look up a bunch of stuff for this, and it was odd writing this BGTO because there was a bunch of stuff, and I haven't read all of the books, haven't seen all of the movies, obviously, because, we do our live reaction reviews to them when we watch them for the first time. So, hopefully everything in here is accurate. There's a possibility that I was wrong about some of these things just because I haven't read all of the books and that. So let me know if I made mistakes, unless they're super spoilery in the comments. But hopefully that's all that. All right. What are we doing next time, Victoria?
We are going to be reviewing Walk This Way, which is the Odyssey episode of the month.
For February.
Prequels of Love, Valentine's Day episode.
Also, Whit's past episode. Also, written by Kathy Buchanan, just like Walk This Way.
And we are also going to be reviewing the Adventures in Oddity. Not us. So Katie and
the audiobook.
Katie and Will's audiobook.
Yes. So for those who remember, Katie and Will released their book last year, Adventures in Oddity, about their lives together and apart.
Pretend I'm holding it because mine's on my shelf.
Mine should be like right here.
Devin, put yours in my hand.
Okay. Where'd it go?
Edit it to make it look like it's in my hand.
I'm not doing that.
Can you do that?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I could, but I'm not going to. There it is. It is their book where they talked about all that stuff about Adventures in Odyssey and about their other aspects of their professional lives. And as we incredibly predicted in the interview that we did with them after we reviewed the book, they made an audiobook, which we've talked about in a couple recent episodes. It's out now. We both have copies, and we are going to be reviewing that next time, in addition to Prequels of Love and Walk This Way. So, yeah, that's everything. That's what we're doing next time. Until then, thank you for joining us on our side of the YouTube. I've been Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltzner.
And I have a new poster on my wall. Which way am I? That way.
There you go.
There.
Yay! I have so many posters on my wall over here that you guys can never see. You just see the ugly glass and insulation behind me, but look at all the other ones I have on the corner there.
Whoa!
including a painting. I have a lovely oil painting of Beacon Academy from Ruby.
I have more than you, which I haven't even put on my shelf yet.
I also have many poems.
I have to put my big Hero.
Anyways, enough about us. We want to hear
enough about us.
We want to hear about you down in the comments, and so for that, we should end this episode now. So
tell us how your day was. Like, comment, subscribe. Look us up on MySpace.
All that junk, yeah. LinkedIn.
I don't even know what that one is.
It's a business networking
Find
site.
us on Pinterest.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.